Good afternoon. Welcome to this afternoon's discussion on co-creating digital services with fintech companies, the next frontier in the digital government era. I am Wei Lai, and I will be your host. Thank you for joining us today, and it's a pleasure to have you. To kick off the session, Poon Shou-Sin from GovTech will be talking about empowering businesses with SINGPASS. Over to you, Poon.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. First and foremost, I want to thank everyone for joining in. And what I'll do here is I'm going to share my deck of slides in this second. Okay, what we're trying to do here with SINGPASS, our national digital identity, right, is to empower businesses, all businesses, with our national digital identity. I'll start off with a quick introduction. I'll showcase our product suite, and then summarize on how fintech companies, right, can leverage on our national digital identity. Right. A smart nation is about harnessing technology to the fullest. It's about creating opportunities for innovation, especially during times like this. Ultimately, right, it is to improve the lives of everyone residing in Singapore. And a cornerstone of realizing this smart nation vision, right, is SINGPASS, our national digital identity. You see, SINGPASS is not just a digital identity of itself, but most importantly, right, SINGPASS is also a digital enabler. Why we say that, right, is because what the government has here, right, is a robust and established infrastructure for authentication. And on top of that, we have, the information of everyone residing in Singapore from the different government agencies. So when we couple these two key components together, right, we have now built a platform that is not just available for government agencies, but now available for private sector to leverage on, to merge with, to integrate with, to digitally empower yourselves. And before we outline, the product suite, from a citizen standpoint, the gateway to all this product and services, right, is through the SINGPASS account or SINGPASS mobile app. And businesses get to pick and choose, what are the best, products and services that NDI has to offer that best suits their business need. The first, MyInfo, has been out for close to 2 years. MyInfo essentially allows for any SINGPASS user, right, to authorize the extraction of data of themselves to be shared with specific organizations for specific purposes, thereby facilitating that seamless customer registration, that loan application or credit card application. Later on, I have a few use cases to better illustrate its benefit. SINGPASS login, traditionally used by government services such as CPF and IRAS, right, to authenticate their end users, right. 1 year ago, we've extended the use of SINGPASS authentication, right, for private sector use, meaning to say the likes of NTUC Income, Prudential, OCBC Bank, SGX, now starting to offer the SINGPASS passwordless login experience to their end customers. I've got a short video to better illustrate this. And for a face-to-face scenario, whether is it at your customer contact centers or your roadshows, right, when integrated with our back-end, right, organizations can seamlessly verify, their customers. Also, right, if organizations who have a need for, document signing, when integrated with our back-end, right, you can actually offer SINGPASS or NDI's sign with SINGPASS or digital signing, a digital signature that comes with high assurance and recognized by the Singapore Court of Law. And for more sensitive transactions, right, any organization with a simple API call, right, can trigger off our face verification service as a form of step-up authentication for sensitive transactions. And organizations can also proactively reach out to your customers by using SINGPASS remote authorization. I'll firstly quickly start off with MyInfo, with hassle-free form filling of MyInfo. You see, MyInfo is not just a data vote, a consent platform, right? But what MyInfo actually provides, right, is a hassle-free form filling user experience. And to better illustrate its benefit, right, what I have here, right, is one of our early adopters 2 years ago, DBS. To open up a DBS account, all the customer needs to go to is the DBS portal. I click on apply for an account. Instead of having the user go through that, filling up those 10 fields manually and uploading documents, right, DBS offers a link to MyInfo. Click here to use Mindful for hassle-free form filling. When the user clicks here, the user is redirected to the Mindful portal. Before the user sees his consent page, the user is authenticated via SINGPASS, so we know exactly who he is. And now we'll seek his explicit consent. Do you consent sharing the following information with DBS for the purpose of opening up a DBS account? Only when the user clicks I agree, then is DBS allowed to extract all those data through a simple API call. And when the user is then redirected back to the DBS portal, the user scrolls down, he will see all those 10 fields being auto-populated with Mindful government verified data. And once the user clicks submit, the user's account is then auto-provisioned. Along with DBS, other banks also came on board, with different use cases such as loan application, credit card application. And as you can see, right, because the data from Mindful is government verified, meaning to say that the services rendered by these banks, such as loan application, bank account creation, right, all these services can be rendered instantaneously. So to date, right, we have close to 300 over partners with more than 350 live services. We are ranging from insurers to banks to even SGX. Most recently, right, e-commerce sites like Carousel, Shopee, so on and so forth, right? So again, what do all these organizations see in common in terms of the benefits of Mindful? Number one, Mindful provides that hassle-free form filling experience. No longer are the days that users have to manually key in. Number two, Mindful facilitates that explicit user consent. Only when the user agrees, then is the data allowed for the partner to be extracted. And number three, most importantly, all these organizations over here save the time and money of having to verify the data, because all the data from Mindful, right, is from government sources and therefore government verified. And here are just some of the highlights, the kind of data that is available from Mindful. So what we hope organizations do is consider Mindful to better streamline that online customer acquisition, whether is it a customer registration or whether is it an application for a certain financial product. So I'll quickly move on to the passwordless flow of SINGPASS login. As we've all be familiar with, right? When logging into any government service, whether it's CPF or IRAS, right? When I click login via SINGPASS, I'm redirected to the SINGPASS portal, where I'm then required to key in the username and password. 2 years ago, we've introduced the SINGPASS QR login. When used with the SINGPASS mobile app, right, it facilitates a passwordless login experience. To demonstrate this, right, what I have here is a short video. This is one of our early partners, early adopters, and this is the Prudential customer portal. On the left-hand side, as you can see, is the Prudential user ID and PIN. On the right-hand side is the SINGPASS QR login embedded within the Prudential customer portal. So typically, whenever a Prudential customer, for example, myself, I'll always forget my Prudential user ID and PIN. And every time when I try to log in, I have to reset it. But now with the SINGPASS mobile app, right, instead of doing that, all I need to do is whip up my SINGPASS mobile app, scan that QR, consent logging in to the Prudential site. And because the SINGPASS mobile app uses the phone's biometrics, in this case, Touch ID or Face ID, as you can see, the whole login experience is a straight through, one click, and it's fast, it's convenient, and most importantly, it is secure. Because this whole flow encompasses both the first factor authentication, which is what you have, the SINGPASS mobile app, and the second factor authentication, which is what you are, Face ID or Touch ID. We're so happy to share that OCBC, the first bank in Singapore to offer this exact same passwordless flow, right, not just on the OCBC web portal, the customer portal, but also on the OCBC mobile app. Along with Prudential and OCBC, a whole host of other organizations such as Great Eastern, AIA, and quite a number of other organizations already offering the SINGPASS QR login. And in terms of the benefits, all customers get to enjoy this passwordless login experience, right? A lot of these organizations are seriously considering to sunset their existing login mechanism and solely depend on SINGPASS, thereby avoiding maintenance costs. But ultimately, right, all these organizations, right, are readily accessible by 4 million SINGPASS users. So to date, right, in fact, it's not updated, we have close to 50 over partners with more than 50 live services, ranging from OCBC to SGX, quite a number of insurance firms, right? But what we're trying to achieve here as part of national digital identity, right, is with one single digital identity, right? Our users will have ready access to not just 300 over government agencies, digital services, a whole host of private sector services. And with our passwordless login experience, everyone, including you and me, and more importantly, the older folks, right, will no longer have to remember their OCBC password or their Great Eastern password. Because with the SINGPASS passwordless login experience, right, they have a straight-through access to all these digital services. So we invite all organizations, right, to consider to be part of this ecosystem of trust. And quickly moving on, right, for a face-to-face scenario, if your organization has a customer contact center or their roadshows, to seamlessly register your customers, especially these days with the need for contactless flow, right? And what we have here, right, is a device. It can be your company's device. As long as you display a QR, all the user simply needs to do is scan with the SINGPASS mobile app, consent sharing certain data for the purpose of registration, and with Touch ID, and all this information is then shared with that organization, thereby facilitating that seamless customer registration. As you can see, right, again, what this facilitates is a seamless customer registration, and it's been used in a number of different places. For example, events registration, building access, or even patient registration. With digital signing, another interesting one, right? If your company, has a need for document signing, long gone are the days, right, where you need to, download the document, print it out, sign it, and upload it again. Because with digital signing, with SINGPASS or NDI, right, what you can facilitate, right, is a remote signing flow, something that is totally self-service. And the flow is as follows, right? Imagine logging to your partners or to your own customer portal, as the user carries out a certain transaction. And when there's a need to sign a document, he reviews that document on your portal. And when there's a need to sign, all he needs to do is click on the signing portion, and a QR code comes up. He scans using his SINGPASS mobile app. He consents signing the document, Face ID, and the end of this flow, right, is a digitally signed PDF. What happens in the back end, right, are actually two things. Number one, right, with the SINGPASS mobile app, we've authenticated the person. And number two, because he consented signing the document, right, which is why in the back end, right, we've binded his digital identity, right, with this document, resulting in a digitally signed PDF, right, that is recognized by the Singapore Court of Law because it comes with legal presumptions of authenticity. Yeah, but most importantly, right, this digitally signed document, right, is non-reputable. What is the definition of non-repudiation, right? In the case of, after I digitally sign a document, in event of a dispute, when this is brought up to the Singapore Court of Law, the onus is actually on the disputer to prove to the courts why he didn't sign this document. When all the judge needs to do, right, is open up that PDF document, that digitally signed PDF document, and it is clear as day that it states down here, so and so signed this document using the NDI digital signing certs. And we're happy to share that our digital signing solution, right, we're pre-integrated with existing signing partners such as Adobe, DocuSign, OneSpan, NetTrust, and another host of digital signing partners, so that organizations who are interested, right, can reach out to our existing partners, right, and possibly, right, as simple as an extension, right, these signing partners can simply extend the NDI digital signing offering, right, to their clients, and thereby, right, achieving this widespread adoption. So in the coming months, right, one by one, right, you'll see more and more organizations offering digital signing to the end customers. Quickly moving on, right, for face verification, a simple service, right, that GovTech is offering through our NDI infrastructure, right, with a simple API call, any organization, right, can trigger off our face verification and can use it as a form of step up. For example, right, in your online flow, whenever a user, after authentication, when he's about to carry out a sensitive transaction or a high value transaction, if your organization needs a form of step up authentication, you can consider, using NDI's face verification with a simple API call, right? It will trigger off, our face verification service, which actually, orchestrates the activation of your front-facing camera of your mobile app or your mobile device, or even, your laptop. It will capture a sequence of photos, and we will then compare it against our database of photos from ICA and MOM, and we'll return a confidence score to our partners, so that our partners will then decide, whether can this user proceed with a sensitive transaction. So what we're offering here, right, is not just a simple to integrate face verification service, right? But because it is a service, that is why, right, a lot of organizations, right, need not do any enrollment. In fact, when using our face verification service, there's zero enrollment required. Compared to organizations that implement their own face verification or biometric solution, the first hurdle you need to get past, right, is to actually painstakingly register one by one your users and take selfies, build up a database of photos. And on top of that, right, because you're keeping biometrics information, right, you need to safeguard your photos. By using our face verification service, right, there's no need for all this because we have already a database of photos to verify the person's face against. So ultimately, right, our face verification serves as a proof of presence for sensitive transactions. In fact, we have implemented our face verification service, right, at the self-service kiosk at the various government agencies such as CPF, IRAS, PA, and most recently, state courts. But what I have here, right, is a short video, just one example of how face verification can be used. And allow me to explain, what we have done here, right, is at the People's Association at our Tampines Hub, there exists, a few self-service kiosks. We have replaced, this self-service kiosk is to allow for any users, right, to access any government service through the SINGPASS login. But we have replaced the SINGPASS login, right, with our face verification service. This is really positioned for older folks who have forgotten their SINGPASS password and didn't bring their SINGPASS mobile app. So all the user simply needs to do, right, is trying to access this government service. He clicks on login via SINGPASS. He follows simple instructions. So first, either scan your NIC or key in your NIC number and consent, carrying out face verification. And as you can see here, right, the colored lights here, right, is for the purpose of liveness and anti-spoofing to make sure that this person is not wearing a latex mask or putting up a high-resolution photo. And once we confirm he's a real person, we'll then check against our database to make sure that he is indeed who he is. And now that we're verified, and then he can then proceed with that particular transaction. So again, just one example of how face verification can be used. We're also happy to share that DBS, the first bank in Singapore, right, to use this exact same face verification service on the DBS mobile app to facilitate the onboarding of our existing customer to their digital banking accounts. Yeah. So in the coming months, you'll see more and more organizations using our face verification service, right, for different use cases. So we invite interested parties to reach out to us. We can collectively explore your use cases and you can really quickly onboard our face verification service, to help with your customer journey. And lastly, right, with remote authorization, any organization, right, can proactively reach out to your end customers through the SINGPASS remote authorization. With a simple push notification, to your end customer, you can seek authorization for specific transactions. For example, do you authorize a MediSave deduction from this clinic for this person for this amount? When the user clicks allow, we authenticate the person, and then we will send back this signed transaction to show and verify that this person indeed authorized this particular transaction. So our partners can then complete their workflow. This is something that, for interested parties, please reach out to us because we're going to start offering this from early next year onwards. So really to quickly summarize, what we are providing here, right, is, to help with that online customer acquisition, to help your organization, right, with MyInfo, right, seamlessly register your users, your first-time users. And after registering them, right, whenever they try to access, for repeated visits to your portal, right, by offering the SINGPASS passwordless flow, right, your customers, right, have ready and straight-through access, right, to your portal. For face-to-face scenario, right, road shows, your customer contact centers, right, you can offer verify. And for more sensitive transactions, right, you can offer remote authorization, digital signing, of course, face verification. So to really summarize and to really close off, right, what we're providing here, right, is, a national digital infrastructure. It can be seen as a digital utility, just like how oil and gas and electricity is important, to businesses, right? As part of Smart Nation, right, what we're offering here, right, are 6 ready to integrate API products. All the heavy lifting is done by GovTech. The integration, the use of all these 6 API products, right, is fairly straightforward. All our organizations took between 2 to 6 weeks to complete full end-to-end integration with all our products. So we invite interested parties to scan this QR to register your interest with us, and our team will come back to you and help you onboard our national digital identity. Thank you very much for your attention. I'll hand back to Wei Lai, our moderator.
Thank you, Poon. Let's start the panel discussion. Joining us today to share their thoughts are three FinTech leaders. Allow me to introduce Hua Zhengwei, CEO of Accredify, Jean-Remy Bernard, General Manager of My Insurer Private Limited, and Eric Wong, Chief Operating Officer of Jet Trade Private Limited. Let us start with Zhengwei. Could you tell us about the recent launch of the Digital Health Passport and how it supports the government's digitalization efforts, especially amidst the pandemic outbreak?
Thanks, Wei Lai. Thanks, Poon. Accredify's Digital Health Passport is a mobile application that allows consumers like you and I to store and display our medical records in a verifiable manner. We work with more than 80 clinics and hospitals in Singapore and Hong Kong to actually issue COVID swab results directly into the hands of the consumer. This is really a private-public collaboration, as we have quite a number of government agencies on board that is helping us to make this come true. So included in those are like the SG Innovate, GovTech, MOHT, Temasek, National Research Foundation, etc. To explain the Digital Health Passport, I will use two different use cases that we have deployed over the last 6 months. The first one was actually with the foreign workers dormitory outbreak, where we assisted both Ministry of Health and Ministry of Manpower to digitize every single discharge memos belonging to the foreign workers. So initially, they were using a physical paper to go back to the workforce or the dormitory. After we came in, they started using this verifiable document that employers or dormitory owners can simply check against MOM to allow the foreign workers to enter their location and premise again. In the past 4.5 months, we did about 2.5 million verifications. So just imagine every single one of them could have been an email or a phone call to the clinics or to MOM or to MOH. So that digitalization really helped change the entire situation, helped things a lot more streamlined. The second use case was in the travel site, where we are using the Digital Health Passport for the Singapore-Hong Kong travel bubble to allow passengers to be authenticated for their healthcare status easily across the borders. Thanks, Wei Lai.
Thank you, Zhengwei. Next, we have Jean-Remy from My Insurer. Could you share more about how My Insurer is disrupting the insurance industry?
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity. So yes, I'm the general manager of My Insurer, which is a Singapore headquartered and FinTech, InsurTech really. We were incorporated in 2019 and with a seed funding of $200,000, and we launched our product at the end of 2019. Our product is actually branded Wellnex. It's a B2B product which is directly focusing on insurance intermediaries' needs in terms of managing their clients and their leads. We found that there was a massive pain point in the industry whereby most insurance intermediaries do not have any kind of equipment. Even those who are actually tied to very large corporate insurance companies, they are pretty much left to their own tools and through their own means. And so we invested this segment, coming up with a fully featured customer relationship management ecosystem, which takes them from the generate new leads, acquiring new leads and qualified leads, all the way through promoting themselves, promoting their brands, communicating regularly with their clients and their leads. And we are very proud because within a year, we have already break even. We launched, as I said, in the last quarter of 2019, and we have already close to 500 financial advisors, agents who are using our SaaS platform. It's a cloud hosted platform in Singapore on Microsoft Azure. And collectively, they are managing in the region of 30 to 35,000 clients and leads. So we really hit the spot there. There was definitely a need, and we are really aiming at addressing their needs in terms of digital end-to-end processes, interactions with their clients through social media. And in effect, the fact that COVID hit last year for us was a proof of the fact that our product had found its market, because it is really helping financial advisors and insurance intermediary continue to have this discussion, this integration, and these interactions with their clients in a non-face-to-face environment. So what do we have in this ecosystem? We have a membership which helps and enables financial advisors to acquire new leads. It's a membership that is coming for free, that we packaged as part of this ecosystem, which gives benefits in terms of healthcare, whereby we have negotiated with partners in the healthcare industry some really good rates for a range of healthcare services. We have fitness, we have lifestyle, including food and beverages partners, and all these people are actually coming to the platform to bring value to the members, to the clients of the financial advisors. So you see, it's a win-win situation that we have created with this ecosystem, and our financial advisors, our clients, seem to be very, very happy with that. Lastly, I'd say, because the theme is really the discussion today is about signing with SINGPASS and security. We say that our platform has been certified Data Protection Trust Mark by IMDA after a very long and effort-intensive audit. So we are very, very much looking forward to providing our clients a very secure environment for their transaction and their management of their clients. And clearly, what was proposed and illustrated by Poon is really going into the direction. It resonates very much with what we are trying to achieve. And we are very, very sad that OCBC beat us to the finish line in terms of integrating SINGPASS into their mobile app, because that's exactly what we are in the process of doing and testing as we speak.
Thank you, Jean-Remy. Finally, we have Eric Wong from JetTrade. You're in the midst of implementing login with SINGPASS as an authentication mechanism and sign with SINGPASS as a digital signing solution for consent trade. Could you tell us more about this?
Yeah, sure. Thanks a lot, Wei Lai, and thanks also to Poon, Zheng Wei, and Jean-Remy for their very insightful sharing. JetTrade is indeed very honored to be one of the prestige winners of the recent IMDA Blockchain Challenge under the Trade Trust team. For this concentrate solution, we have actually partnered with one of the non-bank financial institutions to understand and solve their pain point. So when it comes to trade financing, financial institutions often spend much time and effort attesting the trade documents submitted for financing, and thus such costs and also the document fraud risk are priced into the financing transaction, adding more financial burden to enterprises who are actually seeking financing. And according to one of an article that is recently published on the Straits Times, trade finance facilitated by some form of credit is actually a US 9 trillion business. And most of these practices still rely on hard copy documents to establish the existence, ownership, transfer, payment of goods, which are actually very prone to forgeries. So financial institutions often struggle to verify the validity of these documents. So I would say that digitalization, and in particular using solutions such as Concentrate, which adopts or GovTech's Trade Trust Open Attestation framework, does allow an immutable trail of digital evidence that can help reduce the risk of documentation fraud. But JetTrade also recognizes the importance to establish the identity of the individuals who is acting on behalf of the enterprises to issue and sign on these documents. So is he or she authorized at the point of time to do such an action? What if this employee has already resigned or is not authorized to do so anymore? As such, as part of our solution, we have also built an identity server for our application where corporates and enterprises can grant or even revoke rights to their staff to act on the company behalf. And on the other hand, these staff could rely on our integration with login with SINGPASS to authenticate themselves and sign with SINGPASS when they need to sign on any trade documentation. So as you can see, financial institutions, when presented with such kind of digital documents for financing, can now easily attest the authenticity of these trade documents and also the identity of these individuals who actually issue or sign on these trade documentations, thus reducing the time spent in attesting them. So such savings and lower documentation fraud risk, I would say, translate to lower costs for the financial institution. And this can in turn translate to lower borrowing interest rates for the borrowers. So we feel that this is kind of a win-win for the ecosystem in the trade finance space. Yeah, thank you. And I pass back the time to Wei Lai.
Thank you, Eric. As we have seen from Poon's presentation, the Singapore government has opened up APIs to empower companies, including fintech companies like yourselves, to co-create digital services. The use of facial recognition to onboard new customers by DBS is a good example. My question is, what is the next frontier in the digital government era, and how can fintech companies be part of these exciting developments? Poon, would you like to share?
Yeah, great question, Wei Lai. We are happy to share that GovTech's digitalization efforts, have been concentrated on the 5 key areas. The first of which, is the development of new tech tools to respond to COVID. Some of which you are familiar with are the safe entry and trace together. And secondly, we're also developing citizen and business-centric digital services such as SINGPASS, Mindful Business. Thirdly, developing government systems on cloud. By leveraging cloud infrastructure, our GovTech engineers, were able to actually quickly build Trace Together, the Trace Together app, and also roll out our Safe Entry as the national digital check-in system. Fourthly, the modernization of government's ICT infrastructure. And lastly, the use of data analytics and AI and sensors within the public sector. Let me say that, what the government continues to do, is to heavily invest in technology, to carry out that forward impetus for the digitalization at a whole of nation level. And this includes the development of key strategic national projects, such as our national digital identity, and of course, the continuous migration of government systems onto our commercial clouds. So what the government will continue to push the envelope by developing more applications and users within the government and across the industry for AI and sensors. And to the second part of Wei Lai's question, how can fintech companies be part of these exciting developments, You see, what GovTech is also doing, is to build up, a community. So one example, is GovTech has soft launched the developer portal. It is a centralized resource to help industries, to help developers to learn more about the tech products that's developed by GovTech, and more importantly, how can these companies work with GovTech to co-create digital solutions. This portal will be a platform for the technical community to engage, to share ideas on technology and possible applications for public good. And also to complement this developer portal, GovTech will continue to organize more StackX meetups to strengthen our engagement and the co-creation with the industry and the tech community. The recent StackX moved online to co-source ideas on COVID-related problems. For example, contact tracing, ways to reopen the economy safely, and topics such as user experience design and software engineering. So those are the things that we can look forward to. And again, we invite all interested parties, right, to keep your ears peeled, for more of these activities coming up.
Thank you, Poon, for your sharing. Now, gentlemen, what are your thoughts?
Perhaps I can go first for a quick one. I really think that going forward, a lot of things will be public-private collaboration. So a good friend of ours at GovTech once shared that the government role is to provide that infrastructure. He did an analogy where you guys are building the highway, and then for the private sector like ourselves, we are building the different commercial entities along the highway. So with that free highway, it allows more people to travel through, and commercial entities like ours can create value on top of that, and harness a lot more new stuff that we couldn't do in the past. So I do believe that private-public collaboration will really increase, especially in times like this where the pandemic is stopping a lot of business from progressing.
Thank you, Zheng Wei. Eric, would you like to go next?
Yeah, I can go next. Yeah. So actually, from such initiatives, I must say that I am actually very proud of the vision and this foresight that our Singapore government has in terms of bringing really true digitalization for our Smart Nation initiatives. What we see today are definitely, I feel, is the fruits of the labor with years of strategic planning and execution on the government side to create and open a platform and also a community. And I think GovTech has actually done a very good job in that, and a lot of heavy lifting, like what Zheng Wei has mentioned, in setting up infrastructure and to establish common standards for this public and government infrastructure. And then I know that this is just the beginning. We will continue to see more development and innovation from the government that will make be made open to such public and also private collaboration. So as a company, I would say that we are actually very excited to be part of this journey and be part of this community. From the feedbacks of my developers in my company, the developers portal and the StackX are really great initiatives for open collaboration and are useful to bring our developers up to speed with the latest development. So this allows for actually faster co-creation, and also it certainly helped to ease adoption. And there is now a common denominator for many different digitalization platforms and solutions out there.
Thank you, Eric. Jean-Remy, would you like to share?
Yes. Well, I do hear a lot of things that we agree with at my employer in terms of the support that we are getting from the Singaporean government and their agencies, which are promoting and really guiding and assisting us in our developments and making sure that we are leveraging all those assets which are contributing to the digital economy and to the smart nation. Our experience really today is only with SINGPASS, but it's really something that has been very positive. In a very short period of time, we have already managed to actually onboard this new technology to do the login on the app. And we have our eyesight firmly locked onto our next move, which is going to be leveraging my info, because that would be certainly bringing a lot of qualified, secure data straight into the CRM for the financial advisors to collect from their clients, instead of having to go through this fairly lengthy, tedious, and quite error-prone process of asking for their financial position and asking for their dependents and so on. So all this will be definitely onboarding in our platform in the coming weeks. And I'm very excited also to see that there is plenty more in the toolkit, which is proposed to commercial ventures like ours, proposed like the digital signing, because that would perfectly fit in with some of the tools that we have for the KYC and the FNA that we have in our CRM, in our platform. The fact that financial advisors could continue this non-face-to-face working context and have the digital signing built into the platform would be fantastic. So we are great promoters and great users of all those tools.
If I may add on, right, thank you very much for the kind words from Zheng Wei, Remy, and Eric, right, our partners, right. What I would like to share here again, right, is like what our partners are saying, right, GovTech is providing a platform, or like what Zheng Wei has eloquently articulated it, right, it's a highway. But again, ultimately, right, all this, right, will not mean anything, right, if we don't have the support of our partners. Because as our partner, right, what you do is to really translate, you know, all that we have done here, right, to tangible benefits by integrating and by making use of this infrastructure of all these API products, right, to translate this, you know, to support, you know, your digital service, to empower your digital service, right, so that your end customers get to enjoy, you know, that whole digital journey, so that you can then digitally empower your organization. So this is something that, you know, we look forward to for this continued partnership between, you know, ourselves and all our partners, the private sector organizations out there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen, for your sharing. Now, looking ahead, we have a lot of exciting things planned for in the NDI pipeline. Poon, could you give us a sneak preview on what to expect in the coming months?
Sure thing. You know, what we have here, or just within the SingPass mobile app, right, everyone, our end users, right, who can look forward to even more user-centric, you know, features, and some of which, right, I cannot share right now, but it's something that we hope that will help, you know, in improving the everyday lives, you know, of everyone, right, to really help, especially the older folks, right, you know, go online and experience that digital journey. And secondly, right, for our organizations, right, as we continue to offer the 6 ready to integrate products, right, within these products, right, each of which, right, will have additional features, right, that not just bring, you know, additional convenience, but, you know, more functionality, you know, to our organizations. A lot of which, right, is something that I can't share right now, but this is something that really, as our existing partners, we will have the chance to have an early look, a preview of these features.
Thank you, Poon. And thank you, Zheng Wei, Jean-Remy, and Eric, as well as members of the audience for contributing to a lively, robust discussion. And thank you, Singapore FinTech Association, for the chance to speak with everyone. You may email us at engagement_office@surety.sg to contribute your ideas on co-creating digital services with GovTech. Thank you, and have a pleasant afternoon.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Eric. Thanks, Zheng Wei. Thanks, Remy.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us today. Bye, everyone.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye. Take care.